and welcome to my channel. I'm Semaan and I'm a licensed psychotherapist. If you've been to my channel before, thanks for coming back. And if this is your first time joining me, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to talk about the 5 signs that you're in a toxic relationship. And for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about relationships in general, so it doesn't have to be romantic. In this video, we're talking about parent-child relationships, sibling relationships, even romantic ones, or relationships you have with your coworkers. So anywhere you have interactions with other people that you care about, for the sake of this video, we're gonna call a relationship. So if you wanna learn more about those 5 signs, stay tuned. Just a reminder that if you found yourself to be enjoying this video and you found the information to be helpful, please remember to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section with any questions or feedback or suggestions for future videos. And of course, please remember to subscribe to my channel so that you can watch future videos that I post. The first sign that the relationship you're in is toxic for you is honestly a gut reaction. So the phrase we hear is trust your gut. I can't stress this enough in those situations. What do I mean by trust your gut? Because it can feel pretty abstract to some people, but to those who have experienced toxic relationships may know exactly the feeling I'm talking about. By trusting your gut, I mean, do you find yourself avoiding meeting up with that person, coworker, friend, spouse, partner? Do you find yourself avoiding or dreading meeting up with that person that you end up canceling last minute multiple times? Or kind of going with this point as well, do you find yourself feeling very drained, like emotionally exhausted every time you meet up with that person? So this is what I mean by trust your gut. Are they taking up too much energy and too much effort for you, either before you meet up with them or right after you meet up with them? That could be the first sign that that relationship is not the healthiest for you. The second sign is, do you find yourself walking on eggshells a lot? Do you find yourself avoiding certain words, avoiding certain questions because you're afraid of the reaction that that would elicit in that person? And here we are not talking about sensitive subjects to that person. I mean, we all have issues we don't necessarily want to talk about all the time. But this is more of a generalized fear of whatever we say or however we act may bring up a negative response or a critical response from that person. And we really find ourselves tiptoeing around them. So that's a big sign, a big warning sign that that relationship is unhealthy or toxic for you. The third sign, which is honestly pretty obvious, but also easy to miss because we tend to give a lot of excuses for the people we care about, even though the relationship could be toxic. And that third point is, does that person lie a lot? Or do you suspect that a lot of what they say isn't the truth? So even if you haven't necessarily caught them lying, do you have that suspicion? Do you find yourself questioning if what they're talking about is actually accurate? If you find yourself questioning that person a lot, whether they're saying the truth or not, that could be another warning sign that that's a toxic relationship. The fourth warning sign that it's a toxic relationship is if that person is overly judgmental. Do you find them being extremely critical, not necessarily just of you, but of everything around them? Do you find them criticizing people, situations, and never really holding themselves accountable for anything that's going on? If the person is overly judgmental or overly critical to you or to others, that could be another warning sign that it's a toxic relationship. The fifth and probably the most important sign is what we call blame shifting. Do you find yourself that every time you try to confront that person, somehow it becomes your fault? This is what we call emotional manipulation or gaslighting. So what happens in those situations is that the person who is toxic to us may really hone in on our emotions and can really shift the blame back onto us, even though if initially the problem is something we were presenting. So in a nutshell, those are the 5 warning signs that that relationship could be unhealthy for you or toxic for you. However, I don't want this video to mean that, oh my gosh, I identified with those 5 signs. I have to drop that person entirely. I have to drop everything that I'm doing with them and never look back. I don't think that's realistic, and that's not the goal here. The goal here is to just help you identify that if those patterns are part of the relationship you're concerned about, it's a red flag. It's something to look further into. It's something to consider, not something to ignore anymore. So what you do with this information is entirely up to you. I believe that we are all empowered to make the decision that's right for us, and sometimes the decision is not to just drop that person and run away. And I just want to normalize that and validate that. If that were possible, I think no one would be in toxic relationships to begin with. I know this was a quick video, but I hope it was helpful to at least help you identify what toxic relationships could look like. If you did find it to be helpful, stay tuned for more videos in the future where I tackle more closely the issues of gaslighting and emotional manipulation or emotional abuse in extreme cases. Thanks, and I look forward to seeing you all in my next one.